Well, welcome to the Honest Hour. I am Roxane Webster.
I'm Keith Alba, and I guess we should say the revival of the Honest Hour, right, Rox? We're right back into just getting it started again.
Yep, we're getting it started again. As some of you may not know, the Dome was down for every bit of 3 months with bilateral pneumonia. God bless you. We're so happy you are back. And what was your running victory this week, sir?
Well, first, I know how to have a good time, right? You know, everybody else is playing with some coronavirus. I just go straight for the double lung, take me out, knock me on my back, and let me stay there for a while, sort of a piece. But yeah, starting beginning of March was my first visit to urgent care, and it just kind of dragged on from there. But the power of setting goals and intentions came to a reality for me. I set a goal to run a sub 12-minute mile in the month of June.
And you just did that last week. That is awesome.
Actually, sub 11-minute mile. Yeah, you know. So I not only did I beat the goal and meet the goal, I crushed it. So that felt good.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So. Well, and you also found that this was a fairly effective diet plan, right? Bilateral pneumonia.
Right. Yeah. Let's see, I lost 12 pounds, you know, over that time. And just, I think it was partly I was too weak to even put a sandwich to my mouth. So I just decided not to eat, right?
Right,
so,
right. Good heavens.
Yeah.
Well, we are here today talking about small businesses, and we got some, I did some research. I mean, we've known that this is under the surface, except for people who actually have the small businesses, as small business owners ourselves. In April, Forbes surveyed 1,500 small business owners throughout the United States. And Goldman Sachs reported that approximately 75% of them said that they might not be able to exist in 3 months because of the drop-off in sales.
It's surprising and I guess not surprising at the same time, right? The number is staggering, and 1,500 is a decent sample size.
That's right.
So I think it could be, you know, a good study of reflective that's there. Yet I don't know, you know, what they expect, you know, what would a business expect with having such a large shutdown and people sheltering in place for so long? You know, we got orders to be able to come back on a limited basis, and now we're seeing some of those things start to roll back some as well. And when you take out the ability for a business to make money, it's tough to continue to operate. So,
you know, when we start looking at the numbers in Colorado, there was a quote in a recent CPR article that Sonia Riggs of the Colorado Restaurant Association has said that already 400 restaurants in Colorado have permanently closed their doors, right? And this, when we look at loss of income, right, when we look at the Denver Business Journal is giving us some horrible numbers. I don't even want to say them, but they're estimated that we could see cumulative personal income loss of $9+ billion with a B dollars, right? What that means to small businesses and the people and the families and the lives behind them, especially in this real estate market where we're still seeing less than a month of inventory. I think that there's almost this COVID bubble in people's minds where they're feeling like, okay, we had all this pent up inventory. I mean, we had all this pent up, everybody had gone to ground, and now we're right back out again, and the market is, people are feeling like this is just continuing to go up. But those underlying small business failures and unemployment rates can't be denied.
Yeah, I mean, when you start looking at the long-term ramifications of some of those stats that you just gave us, Rox, 400 restaurants closed.
Yeah.
I mean, just off the top of my head, you'd have to figure at a bare minimum that there's an average of
10,
10 employees
right?
per restaurant at least. I think 5 is bare minimum, so we'll go with 10, right? So
Right.
there's 4,000 jobs gone,
Gone.
just
Boom.
gone. And it's not like a bunch of new businesses are popping up to take on and create opportunities for those employees that were part of that restaurant and that industry, right? And then, you know, at least in Colorado, the restrictions are maximum of 50% occupancy. You know, there is some ability that they're expanding out into parking lots or, you know, making some room outside to try and maintain that revenue. But, you know, you reduce the ability or reduce the tables, that's going to have effect on employment.
You know, most restaurants, they are counting, their business model is to have butts in seats all night, every table filled. Every table and turnover, right? And that turnover and every table filled, even with that, most restaurants are going to be running a profit margin of 6, 7, 8%. You cut in half the number of tables that they can occupy. I don't see how any of them hold on.
I don't either. I mean, right now they have the ability in some jurisdictions, and if their location allows it, to kind of go outside and apply for new permits. So they're making up some of those tables, so it's not quite a 50% hit. But that's a limited option, right? We're coming into the summer months, which is nice, so make hay while you can, but it's not even really making hay because you're just trying to maintain the revenue that you were doing before based off of the tables that you had. But what happens in the fall, in the winter?
Right.
When, it's not going to be so fun to be sitting out in those extended patios or parking lots and trying to eat your food and enjoy a dinner. It's just, so yeah,
I personally think
closed
that
now and more to come.
I think that the small business impacts, who knows all the impacts of this? We've never pulled the plug from the global economy, the plug out of the wall of the global economy before, but I think that the small business stories are going to be the real tragedy of COVID.
I agree.
It's
you really start getting into it. You peel it back, right? Why did somebody go into business? That was their lifelong dream. They had a passion for it, right? So what do? They collect their life savings and maybe tap into the equity of their home or pull out a business line of credit or something along those lines. And they sink massive dollars into getting it going, right? The first couple of years in most small businesses, you're lucky to be breaking even, let alone make a profit. And so now you've got these businesses that were just recently started in the last 5 years that maybe breaking even, just starting to make a profit, and you pull revenue out from underneath them. I don't see how it can survive. And then how does that leave that family right after?
How does that leave that family? That's exactly
it. Or no nest egg to fall back on and nothing along those lines. And I mean, 400 restaurants closing, more to come. What kind of job market are they going to be going into? They close your small business and then you're going to be into this labor force that's going to have this massive amount of people that are all applying for those few jobs that are there. I don't see how this real estate market can continue with what we're in right now.
Neither do I. And I think that it is, well, I'm fearful about some of these cliffs that we're heading up against. I think that there is a whole sub story of that we've been discussing for the past 10 minutes that is already happening. People already in desperate straits, but we're not hearing it yet because the safety nets haven't been pulled out yet, right? We've got the extended unemployment benefits that are going to be running out sometime in July unless they're extended. We've got the foreclosure moratorium in Colorado was extended to, I believe, the end of August, I want to say, and I may have these two reversed, and the eviction moratorium was extended as well. So we've got one of them turning at the end of August and one at the end of July. And we also see a longer impact as we start seeing the beginnings of some of these forbearance agreements coming due for non-government backed loans, right? And I'm fully expecting to see a bunch of those result in people being told that they have to pay off the entire back amount of payments ahead of time, all in one lump sum. So I think that that's going to cause a rush to the market of those. And I guess the message is, if you are thinking about selling anytime in the next few years, this may be the moment, right? Or hunker down. When I think of some of these small business owners, right, if I think of somebody who might be in a position where they've been in their house for several years and they're sitting in an equity position, right? And they could do what I just did on my home. I sold my house. I banked a couple $100,000. I paid 6 months of rent up front, right? If you're in a position where you've just lost your business and your income, yet you're sitting in this equity position on your home that we do not think is going to be able to sustain. This market that we're seeing right now is a bubble. It's a COVID bubble, right? And if that's the case, and somebody can sell their house, liberate a few $100,000, pay for a year of living expenses, and still have money in the bank to start picking up the pieces again once this is done, that may be the best option for some of these small business owners who've gone under. I hate to see it. Oh.
Yeah. It's been, if small business, you gone under, refinancing is off the table. Cash out.
That's right, because you're unemployed.
You got no income, no ability to be able to qualify for a new loan. So a bank's not going to give you a new loan. Right? They'll let you keep the one you have so long as you can continue to perform on it. But I agree, the only way to access that equity at that point is really going to be to sell. And
that's right.
Kind of your path on that sort of stuff. If somebody does have a lot of equity and is currently employed, they may be able to do a cash out refinance. But I think those are on the future to start going away as well, because banks are not in the business of owning homes.
That's right.
They don't want to foreclose on your property. They don't want to take it back. They're not, because they have to then turn around and fix it up or get it ready back for sale, pay the cost of sales, do all that sort of a thing, and that's not their business model. Their business model is lending money and making money off of the interest payments that are part of it. So, but if they have to, they'll take it back and tap into that equity that you left on the table if people haven't.
That's right. My big fear with some of these forbearance agreements is that while people are waiting around for the bank to negotiate with them, that they may go into default. And when I layer this just on top of these horrible small business numbers, what else did I get? Do we know the number of jobs in Colorado that are from small businesses is profound, right? We could be seeing, upward of 180,000 jobs that are associated with small businesses, right? And that's according to the Denver Business Journal. And of course, this was an article that they put out in April, and a lot changes in 2 months these days. But, we've been seeing our state be very conservative on the topic of COVID and pulling back, putting restrictions, really attempting to keep those numbers at a low number as we're seeing these explosions around the country. And a part of the cost of that is these numbers.
Business revenue and stuff, right? The bars, I would probably consider a small business. We're talking restaurants, but bars have just been, they were in Colorado recently, 2 weeks ago, allowed to open up and start doing business again with certain restrictions and distancing and whatnot in place. But as of this morning, that ability has been removed again. Yeah. So they're back into the not able, unless they can have some sort of a food service or partner with a food truck or a nearby restaurant or something along those lines. They're pretty essentially shut down for being able to make money, other than to-go drinks.
That's right. That's right. So being a small business ourselves, I mean, Keith and I have been partners now for pushing in on 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And we've had good years and we've had bad years. We've had years where we paid our employees and didn't pay ourselves, and we've had years of tremendous success. And a business, when you've built it from the ground up, is like a child. And my heart is heavy and sad for everyone who's lost their businesses, and for those continued possibilities. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. Hopefully we will never see anything like it again. Just reminds us how your life can change on a dime, and you gotta love every day and love every person in it, you know?
Absolutely. Be present in what we have right now, because who knows what tomorrow is going to bring. It's a new month, and 2020 has seemed to bring a different challenge every month for us, you know, from COVID to the murder hornets to who knows. So
I got a text that was a beautiful sunset that says, "Oh, thank God, the worst is over in 2020," and then you can see the outline of Godzilla inside the sun. Yeah. So, folks, keep your chin up. Anybody who wants to have a private conversation with us about what options you might have, we'd love to talk to you about it, as always. And everybody, love your neighbor.
Reach out, help them out, do what you can on certain things. I know there's a lot of grassroots efforts out there on supporting and helping small businesses, and that's going to be vital now more than ever. Yeah. To help those that have been able to fight and survive to this point to continue to go down that path and stay around. So
imagine our lives without the corner ice cream place or the corner coffee place or your favorite restaurant. That's where we are now. And that's where we are. Yeah.
So many places like that define the community, you know, and not having that around anymore and just seeing a bunch of vacant commercial space, it's going to have a dramatic scarring effect on those communities. So.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, that is our happy, I suspect the honest hour. We are honest.
We're honest and telling you what we're seeing and what's happening out there.
And how we think it's impacting the market.
Here to talk rainbows and butterflies, unless, you know, all of a sudden things change and we see dramatic turn and stuff, then I'm happy to talk unicorns and all that kind of fun stuff. But
I just like hearing you say unicorn. All right, gang. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.